Hello. This is for the midterm exam. I'm basically going to go off the notes I took along with the semester, starting from the beginning when it comes to communications. The communication part was really interesting, especially because it spoke about the meanings behind words or symbols and all that stuff. And I thought it was really interesting because the meaning behind words, like, it could be various things, like trying to explain um, different foods from different cultures to someone that isn't in the same culture, basically, and having them understand what you're trying to describe. Or like the example I gave in the lecture was try to describe the color red to someone who has never seen it before, and it's just it makes you really think about the things that we try to explain as humans, like as people in general. Like, we don't know what we're talking about for the most part. Sorry, I'd say we don't really pay attention to what we're trying to explain. Like, for instance, like me with this video, like, I'm trying to explain something that might not come off the same way with the person listening as to how I'm saying it in my head before it even comes out of my mouth, or as I'm trying to explain it, like, does this even make sense to me? Like, so basically, just trying to explain everything, I guess, like trying to explain our words, trying to explain our meaning behind them, what it symbolizes, stuff like that, I guess. What I really liked about this specific lecture was how it said that it only exists in our heads. So what I got off from that was it only exists in our heads. So everything we take in as people, like, we take it in different ways, basically. So this person could be explaining something to me, but I'm taking it in a way that's completely different from what he's actually describing as. So, like, the image he has in his head isn't the same image that's happening up in my head, basically. Or, I don't know, like, that's why I feel like we have to be very, very careful with how we explain things and how we try to characterize certain words, because we're not all the same, so everything's always going to come off different, especially like with how we talk. Say, for instance, like texting. When we text our friends or something like that, they could take it as we're being ignorant, or we sound mad or something, but in reality we're calm, we're just texting, we're having fun, I guess. Or with couples, when they're texting as well, like, they'll be like, what's wrong, or why do you seem so mad, or you don't have to give me attitude. But it's through texting, and the other person on the other line of the phone is like, I wasn't giving you attitude, I'm talking normal. Like, but like, that's why I say, like, we need to be very careful with how we describe things, how we talk and explain our situations, just because it's not always going to be the same for other people. Other people are not going to take it the same as we're trying to explain it, or how we're trying to like, put off that vibe, that emotion, basically. I'm sorry, I had to charge my laptop. This is very awkward. Another thing, I guess, would have to be that I really liked from the first lecture. Let's see. Opinions are meaningless, basically. So my first reaction from when I read that was, oh, I thought my opinion actually mattered, but obviously it doesn't matter. And, like, just like this video in general, it's like my opinions, because I'm explaining from what I'm understanding, from what I'm getting out of it, basically, and I'm trying to explain my opinion off of it, I guess. I don't know if that makes sense. But, yeah, and then judgments were very interesting as well for the second lecture, where I had no idea there were so many more like subgroups for judgments, and based off this lecture, like I thought it was very interesting, especially because they're all for different things. Like there's one for value, like if you're a good person or a bad person. There's one for laws. There's one for like right or wrong for the laws, or like bad and did I already say bad and good? I think yeah I did. But like they just like go into different things, and I had no idea about it. I thought it was very interesting, and I think what made me understand it more was the first paper we had about the ICE officers removing a family of 4 from their home because they were Western European immigrants, and the question was like respect to ethics, was it wrong or right? Was it correct or was it not correct, basically? And obviously, I'm a person, like, my opinion was I didn't agree with it. But that was just my opinion. And because opinions don't matter, obviously I had to put respect to ethics and look at my lecture, look at my notes and all this stuff. And I realized it was one of these judgments. It was I think it was a prescriptive judgment is what I put down. Guide to human conduct measured in terms of right or wrong, rule-based, which is laws, codes of conduct, and tradition, and all that stuff. So I wrote, basically backed that up, and it made me understand judgments way more, because that way I had an example and I had a storyline and I had to back it up and put examples, so that set it in motion with me to understand it more, and I really liked it. Also, I think from the very beginning of the semester, I had difficulties understanding what relativism was, and I really wanted to know what it meant more, like, because the first part of the semester, it intrigued me. So because like it makes you think of everything. It makes you think about life. What is life, basically? And relativism, from what I got off of it, was opinions don't matter. So basically, I think it was how relativism was basically facts, is I think what I grabbed from it. But facts, like, I think facts can be like a really hard thing to actually like explain or get in general, just because no one actually knows the true answer to things or like the reason behind things at all. Like, there could be various reasons. There could be I don't know, like, I don't know if I'm explaining myself well enough. It sounds good in my head, I swear, but just like no one actually knows the answers to anything. Like, we don't, going like off of religion, like me, like from my belief system, like I think that I won't know the answers to anything about life, about myself, or about anything in general around me until I pass, and that's when I'm finally going to get my answers. But even then, I won't be able to tell anybody, so no one who's living is going to know the answers, because you won't find out till you're dead or something. But that's my take on it. That's obviously my opinion right there. And like with the belief system and all that stuff, I thought the belief system was really cool, because your belief system is formed based off of your surroundings. So I think it starts off with your family. So growing up, obviously your parents, your aunt, your uncles, they're all going to have an impact on you. They're all going to teach you something. And then the biggest people who form your belief systems are your cousins, I believe. Because they're like, your cousins are basically your first friends. And those are the people you see all the time. Those are the people you're around for the majority of your, the first couple years of your life. Well, also basically all your life. But they're your first friends. They're the first people that you get close to, other than the adults. But they're the ones that have your secrets and you have theirs. And your belief system just forms from everything that they believe in. And then after that, like when you start school and all this stuff, your belief system forms from what your friends believe in. And then you pinpoint on what you want to believe in, what makes sense to you. And then beyond that, it goes on to like coworkers or classmates or I don't know, anybody you're around for a good amount of time. Their beliefs go on to you as well. And I believe as humans, our belief systems, the way we form them ourselves is we pinpoint everything that makes us comfortable. We pinpoint everything that makes sense to us and what we want to believe in. And I don't think like belief systems are made for you, you know? Like I believe we make our own belief systems. We believe what we want to believe. And I know for a fact, like no one's going to believe in something that makes them uncomfortable, even if it's the truth. Like even if it's the actual truth. Let's see. Going off of the philosophers, I have difficulties with the philosophers, and I know I should have asked about them more, but I'm stubborn. So let's see. Socrates, he was a little hard to understand, but I think after I saw this video from work that was talking about like harassment and all that stuff, and it gave me a better understanding of Socrates. And basically, because Socrates had this method, the Socratic method, where he questions every question until his point is made, basically. Until I think he points out the flaws in them. So basically, in the video I saw, a guy was going up to Socrates and telling him, "Hey, Socrates, like, I have to tell you something about your student." And Socrates was like, "Okay, well, before you tell me this big secret about my student, is it important to me? Is it good? And is it worth my time?" And this guy said no to basically everything. And he was like saying, "Okay, well, if it's not important, it's not something good, and it's not worth my time, then why do you feel the need to tell me?" And so that gave me more of an understanding of Socrates. Like, okay, like, because he is the moral philosopher, so that gave me an understanding of, like, don't say something if it's not worth the time, if it's flawed, basically. If it's a flawed thing, then what's the need for it? That's what I got off of it. And Plato, I'd say, let's see, he was a rationalist, so he was basically about reason. Let's see, what I got off of him, I think he was the one that I had the most difficulty with. He was basically, okay, all right, so Plato was, I thought he was more about the soul. So the person, basically, like their mind, their body, how their soul is. And like in order to be happy, like you have to have that virtue, the goodness in you, basically. And it all starts off with the soul and then beyond and all that. And then Aristotle, I think Aristotle was the empiricist. I don't know if I say that right. He was more logical, I guess. I like try to like look up more about them and understand more, but it's a little hard because I don't think there's a way to exactly describe their work just because it's so wide ranged. And that's in my opinion, though. I feel like they're so wide ranged. I did like Socrates a little bit more than anybody else, and I think that's why I wanted to understand him more and didn't really put much effort into Plato and Aristotle as much. But I mean, obviously, each one's work is very important. I don't mean to disrespect them at all. But yeah, I don't know. I think I had a gravitational pull to Socrates more. But yeah, and then the religion lectures. Okay, so with religion, I do come from a Catholic family, so I am very religious. Um, and I think when it comes to religion, it's all based off of my own opinion because it's all based off my own belief system and it's based off of what I was raised around. So when it comes to religion, I believe in one God. I believe, well, then again, like, I'm a very open-minded person, so I'm not like a strict Catholic, not like my grandma, but I am Catholic. But I think it was one of the discussion questions when it came to uh, if religion, like what was it? Something about ethics and if religion played a big part of it, something like that. And one of the classmates said that religion, it does play a big role in, in ethics. It doesn't make you a bad person that you're not religious, or if you don't go, like, what I put was like, it doesn't make you a bad person if you don't go to church. Like, I haven't gone to church in a while, ever since I moved down on my own. But I don't think that makes me a bad person. I don't think that makes me less of a Catholic. I think that's all in our heads, basically. Like, we were raised, like, as religious people, we were raised to have to go to church every Sunday, practice, pray, do all these things in different religions, obviously. But like, I feel like as I grew older, I became more open-minded, and I thought, maybe you don't have to do all those things. Maybe God will accept you for the amount of things you already do for him. Like, I do believe in him. I do pray every now and then. When I get on the freeway or when I'm driving, I always bless myself. I have rosaries all over the place. Like, I do the most I can to obviously show my belief and all that stuff. But I don't go to church. But I don't think that makes me a bad person. I don't think that makes me, like, ethics-wise, it's just, I don't know, like, oh, religion is such a tough topic. I don't know, like, religion does play a big role in ethics, and I think, in my opinion, from what I wrote down in that discussion, I wrote down that it's faith, it's hope, it's comfort. It brings a lot of people comfort, and it brings a lot of faith in people's lives. Like, as long as you have something to believe in, it doesn't have to be in God, it doesn't have to be in multiple gods or something like that. It could be in anything. As long as you have a belief, as long as you have faith in something, it could bring comfort to you. It could help you push for life, keep you on your toes. I don't know. A lot of people, like, I think as long as there's good connections with something, as long as you have good faith with something, then you have meaning for your life. And that is something that I believe a lot of people need to hear. Even people just going through struggles in their life and all that stuff. I think that they need to hear, like if you don't believe in God, then just to know, like, there is so much more to life. Like, as long as you believe that there is more to life, then you have, like, you could keep the will to keep going. As long as you believe, or like, to a religious person, like, God knows, like, God sees you, God will help you, he's putting you through this path for a reason. And I personally have told myself that multiple times. There is a reason for the path that you're going through. There's a reason through with all the difficulties and all that stuff. And it's just going to bring you to the person that you're meant to be. And that's basically, I just think philosophy is that. Basically, I think everything in life, all the meanings in life, makes up for what it's supposed to be. Not just as humans, but the earth in general. Like, life on earth in general is supposed to be the way it is, or it's going through the path it is for a reason that we will not know. And I think it's very interesting, and it brings such a wide variety, much like like it makes you open your mind, it makes you overthink things. But that's my intake.